Hello, we're going to go over topography in a nutshell. First off, what is topography? What is a contour line? Draw a contour line. Calculate the contour interval. State the elevation. Calculate the gradient. Identify the compass direction the river is flowing. Describe why a slope is steep. And draw a topographic profile. So we're going to do all of those, and you can see the keys match up with some of the things that we're going to be doing in the notes. First off, right at the top, what is topography? What is topography? It is actually physical features. That's what you want to write down. Like landforms, including intuitive elements such as berms, mounds, hills, ridges, cliffs, valleys, rivers, peninsulas, volcanoes, and numerous other structures. So this is a good thing to know. Past and previous regions question, what does a topographic map show? Climate regions, ethnic distributions, patterns of trade, physical features. The next thing, what is a contour line? Right there. A contour line is a line of equal elevation. Elevation, let me move myself real quick, is how high above the ocean are you? And just like we said before, you have the topographic map shows the physical features. Well, you can see physical features right here. When we add those contour lines, which are the elevations, and show the elevations, we can then form a topographic map, which is what you see below. This is what is actually what you look out and you see in the real world. This is a map that you can have a 2D map, like looking down at it. All right. The next thing we're going to go to, number 3, is draw a contour line, and it matches up right here to that page. Draw the 55 foot contour lines. First thing off, do not connect the dots. This is how not to do it. Do not connect the dots. For instance, don't do this and don't do this. You don't want to connect the dots like this. First, you want to start on the dot. First dot, 50 dot, right here. And then you're going to start by looking in between. There's a 53 and a 49. I would put a dot right about here or between these two, just to indicate, hey, I need to go up, and I'm going to put a dot right there and label it 50. That way you know it's 50, and you know those are the colored dots that you're going to do after this. And then we're going to continue 53 and 47, 53 and 47, I think 53 and, oh no, 56 and 48, 52 and 48, and then like 53 and 47-ish, and then you've got a 50 up here. And once you have all of them done, all your dots done, you are going to connect the dots. And this is just, the red is showing how the numbers I was talking about, matching them up, just so that you could get where that 50 would be. So once I have all my dots, I'm just going to connect them. These are the dots you can connect. They don't go up, they're the same number, they're all 50s. All right, so I'm going to do it for the 55. So I'm looking at the 55, and I'm going to start putting dots in between. Go like in between there, probably in between there, in between, sorry, these two, in between those two and these two, in between these two, in between those two, and then in between those two. Those are all 55s, and then I connect the dots. So this is a Regents style question. This is what was on a Regents question, and this is the example of the response that we would get to grade it. And if we superimpose yours, they look pretty darn similar, and you would get the credit. All right, we're going to go to number 4. We're going to look at the contour interval of this map right there, 4 down here. What you're going to do, the first thing you're going to do is you want to find the 2 dark lines given, right? So there's 500 and 250. Once you have those, you can use the simple little formula of taking those 2 lines and subtracting them. So 500 minus 250, you're left with 250. And then you're going to count up. I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines up. That's the spaces in between. All right, so I've got 250 over 5 gives you 50 feet. That's my contour interval for each of those little non-dark lines. All right. What is one possible point of elevation? Right here. This is where we are, number 5. One possible elevation for C. So C is in between 2 and 3. So it has to be higher than 2, less than 3. And if they're by 50s, if this is 250, this has got to be 3. And if this is 3, that's got to be 350. So it's got to be above 300. It can't be 300. So it's got to be at least 301 to right under 350, which is 409. Sorry, 349. There you go. And that's what I was saying, 300, 350. And it says, depending on the question, right, the elevation needed, one possible, it could be anywhere. It can be 301, it could be 349, it could be anything in between. 325 works too. All right. So, and if you can see, allow 1 credit for any value greater than 300 but less than 350, just like I said. All right, how to calculate gradient. We're going to, so we were on this page right here. We're going to flip back to this page. By the way, this went with number 3. So we're back on this page, and we're doing 6 and 7, which is right here. Gradient is the change in elevation divided by the distance. It's found on the front page of your reference table, and it will look like this. Okay? Gradient is the change in elevation divided by the distance. Cannot stop saying that. So you're going to take the highest elevation minus the lowest elevation and divide that by the distance between the 2 points. All right, so I have A and B, right? A and B on this mountain look like this. A and B on the paper look like this. So I would take 1,300 minus 1,100, and then I'd have to measure the distance between the 2. All right, so number 6, we're going to go back to this page, and we're going to look at A. A is right here, and B is right here. A is 62, B is 50. So what we need to do is write down, like plug in the numbers if you can. So A minus B over distance. A is 62, B is 50. We got to figure out the distance. We're going to use the scale right here. So you're going to use a little piece of paper. You're going to put it up against A and B, and you're going to mark it, and then you're going to bring it down to the scale to find out how many miles. So there's my paper. I mark, and then I'm going to take this paper and I'm going to drag it down here. And I'm going to find that it is roughly 4 miles. Sorry, 3 miles. So if I bring this down, it's just over this, and then I'd bring that back over here, and I'd find it's about 3 miles. And I plug in 62 minus 50 over 3 miles is 4 feet per mile. Please do not forget the units. Units are important. Allow 1 credit for any value, 3.87 to 4.14 feet per mile, or any value from negative. Try not to do the negatives. I hate negatives. Stay away from negatives. All right. Now we're going to go to 7. 7 is right below. Right there. Right below. It wants the compass direction. Identify the direction the river is flowing, right? So if we have at the bottom of the page, you're going to notice, or at the bottom of this, you're going to notice the north right up there. We got to convert this into a compass rose. Remember, never eat soggy waffles. Never eat soggy waffles. Once you have that, we can determine the way Ames stream is flowing. So this is Ames stream, right? Once we have this, yep, see it down there? I got to identify the V, the rule of V's. The V points to the origin, where it started, not where it's flowing, it's where it's coming from. So here's my V's right here. And it's pointing, this is where it's starting, so it is flowing this way, right? One of the things you can do is you can draw an arrow of the direction of the stream. So it's pointing this way. This is where it started. The opposite, where it's flowing out, is the open part of the V, right? So it's flowing out this way, and we got to figure out what is this direction, right? It's going this way. So I got to get that compass rose right here, put it up next to it, and it looks like if you put it next to it, it's going in between east and south. So it's probably going like southeast, right? So your answer should be southeast. And look, southeast, east, if you really were pushing it, you could say it, but these are all acceptable answers. Step 5, you got to explain it. How did you get it? Acceptable answers. Stream flows from a higher to a lower contour. Contour lines bend upstream when they cross a stream. This is the one I like. Sorry, not yet. Contour lines make a V shape, points uphill where they cross the stream. Here you go, right here. Law of V's. Highlight it, underline it, star it. That's all you have to put. Law of V's. That's it. 4 things. Law of the V's or law of V's. Absolutely okay. Contour lines point uphill. Stream flows out the open end of the V's. The stream flows from the higher elevation to a lower elevation. Use all of that or one of it. Just law of V's. Perfect. All right. Describe why a slope is steep. We're going to go to number 8, and number 8 is on this page. We got to flip a page. I'm going to go right down to the bottom. Describe one piece of evidence represented by the contour lines on the map that indicates the north side of Chimney Bluffs is steep. So the north side up here. Why is this steep? Well, acceptable answers. They're super close together. If you have lines super close together and they're contour lines, that means it's really, really, really steep. The spacing between the contours is small. There's a great change in elevation and a short distance on the north side. All 3 of those are absolutely acceptable. Okay, so now we're getting to the harder part. We are going to draw a topographic map. So we're going to go from this 2D version to a 3D version. And we're going to construct it. You have this, and then you have this little thing right here. We're going to use both of them. You will need a scrap piece of paper so that you can draw this out. We're going to go from C to D, right there. Draw a mark where the contour lines cross the profile line. So you get your paper up, you're going to set it against C to D, and then you're going to mark C to D. And you will mark as if you're drawing straight through each line, right, like this. So now that you have all your lines, you got to start labeling the lines so you know which one's which. This is your C, this is your D. Make sure I always put them down. But you have to go back. Let's see. We have 300 here. You don't see it at the bottom, but it is a 10 feet difference between each contour line. So the next line up right here, this is 310. So I'm going to start labeling. There's my letters. I'm going to label the numbers. So this is 310. Next line up, 320. Then 330, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 390, right? Ooh, where'd it go? There's my 390. Next, I'm going to move it all the way over, like on the flip side of the page. I'm going to put it against the profile line. Keep C always against here. Do not move C. Have it straight up and down on that. And so I'm going to bring it here, and I will label or making an X anywhere on this line that it is 310. And there's only one 310. Once I've completed all the ones that are possible, I'm going to move that page, that thing, I'm going to slide it up. And once I slide it up, I will then mark, keeping C at 310, or right here on this line, I will mark 320. And then I'm going to keep doing that for all lines. Once I have that done, it's a critical thing. You have to connect the X's. Don't forget. This is great. If you draw this, this is going to be great, but you have to connect the dots in a smooth line. All right. And this is what we would get as graders. Something like this. As long as you have them in the boxes, you are 100% okay. All right, that is the end of this set of notes. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. And I hope you guys have a great day.